dates.
we can tangent
We're
this into
reviving the Last Hit podcast. Let's go from yesterday to today.
we're only 1 week. We haven't even finished week 1 yet, and already like this. But
I know,
so
right?
what you're telling me is you want more players like Hung, not support Hung. You want WE Jungle Hung, where he brought out what was it, the Rumble Jungle the other day.
Rumble Jungle, and he played Nautilus as well. He played the two pocket picks.
And I believe, other than Maokai, and now, you know, this Elise that I've revealed, because I only revealed the Elise because everything else is stock and standard that we're going to be seeing in this draft. Yeah, those are the only AP junglers that we've gotten so far. Again, Nico just way too powerful of a laner, it seems like, for teams to even want to think about flexing that champion into the jungle. We sadly haven't gotten any of, like, the Nidalees coming out from, like, our Nidalee specialist, people like Shun, so, you know, hopefully we get some more of that sauce as the split goes on, and there it is!
Jumping into the game. You got the Elites and the Jace, something that can work very, very exceptionally well. And a Malphite coming out here as well for LNG. So definitely a little bit of meta, but nice to see the Elites kind of getting back into play. It feels like it was one of those things that kind of happens to kind of, you know, fall out of the meta because she was so reliant on having someone to work with. But with the changes to the jungle, changes to the way the game is working, I feel like there is definitely a place for this champion.
Yeah, especially if you can be, again, explosive on the map very early on. Match of the week, JDG, LNG, people like Knight going head-to-head with Scout, Kanavi up against Tarzan, Ruler. I mean, just, you know, pretty pound for pound, the matchups being incredibly exciting.
An early hook, and we're going to see a little bit of a separation of the sides right now. No real presence or no real pressure to kind of get any kind of outside of information there from either LNG or JDG. And it's interesting to see as well, LNG coming in now 2-0 at the start of the split. Remember, this is the team that kind of starts off with a 7-0 start traditionally. Nice good hook there from Missing to try and catch out the Lulu, but it is just kind of part and parcel to see where these two teams are going to go. Again, we're giving JDG a little bit of extra time to kind of bring themselves back into this fold and re-acclimatize themselves.
Yeah. Going to have to be able to find that footing. And now that we're in-game and, you know, can actually talk about this draft, right? I think one thing very clear for the side of JDG is wanting to make things happen early. We already kind of hit on that with the Elise. When you have the Elise plus Jace combo coming together, you're going to want to see Kanavi holding hands with Knight. Should be some pick potential down in that bot lane, even if Polymorph is a good deterrent to, like, hooks being able to come out. That was a great one to get Gala's cleanse. I think a lot of options for JDG in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is why this Thresh has kind of found himself, not honestly, it's kind of been definitely lower down on the priorities, but you still have to respect it. Not seen as a, you know, kind of as engagey as something like a Nautilus, but getting those picks off with those hooks, having that lantern to be able to help out people definitely comes out in a lot of handy kind of situations, as we now see Kanavi finding himself with an opportunity maybe to go for something in that mid lane. Would have to expend his flash if you really wanted to get on top there of Scout, but with the accelerated shock blast already being used, it feels like you don't really have the burst of fully 100-0 on.
No, you might be able to get his flash on. That could be the difference maker.
No, they are going to get it as they're jumping back and forward a little bit into the future there. We did miss it out, but look, at the end of the day, the flash does get used by Scout, and everyone just kind of gets themselves a little bit of advantage. And I'm good to see this from Kanavi. He's being a lot more proactive in this particular start of this early game than he was in that game against Weibo.
And hell, that's one of the things of, like, being pushed down further on the totem pole, right? Not picking jungle in those first 3 picks, the Maokai getting banned out in that second rotation and having to go on Elise, maybe something that will unlock Kanavi to be able to find more plays. On the side of LNG, because we haven't really talked about what their game plan should be, I don't think they have anywhere near as many early options. You're definitely looking at the level 6 mark for, you know, Viego to be able to link up, work with the Nico, try and get those resets online, and play more for team fights. Tarzan?
Yeah, well, there's a good flash in. You've got the Glacial Augment. Good hook means they know they got their fish. The Nico goes down. Tarzan knocked backwards. It's actually kind of huge. 1 or 2 more autos would have killed him. And Missing with a fantastic roam there, just making that punish and the flashless Nico.
Yeah, great job to just re-hit where they've already put pressure earlier on. Not only getting a kill, but getting a summoner spell off of Tarzan. Missing not going to feel too bad about losing out on his summoners to get that kill right, having the Hex Flash for the spot lane. And JDG just don't want to stop Machine. They might not be able to find the hook, but I love how bloodthirsty they're being.
I was gonna say, I mean, like the biggest, I suppose, the only real talking point that you come out with JDG is that, oh, you know, there's superstars in every lane except for maybe Missing. Missing kind of just is good but does his job. Missing took this personally. Missing is kind of going, all right, I now need to be a top tier support in this league, in the world, if I want to try and hold my name in. And plays like that, plays like this are what's gonna kind of put his name on the map when you think about the kind of grand scheme of this roster.
And I like that you point that out because it's pretty much only name value that Missing doesn't stack up. In terms of play, Missing has definitely been an absolute stud. And with more time, it's great flash, dodging out on the CC, then turning it into the hook connecting. Tarzan nowhere to go. But yeah, just a matter of time before Missing's name is known, especially if JDG can just keep up the level of performance they had at MSI. We're going to give them a pass for their first series. You just got back. You just won. You were celebrating. You were having a good time. It's going to take some time before JDG can probably get up to that same level of form that they were showing.
Absolutely agree. Minion going to block out that death sentence. So let's see Kanavi making his way down here, though. The Hex Flash is good, but there's already been a slow now. Heal from Hung just from the pressure of Kanavi, because you cannot let that cocoon go too far or too close to your AD carry. And look, presence is all they needed, and they get themselves a summoner.
And look at the farm as well for Kanavi, not even really falling behind, despite the fact that he has been just chain ganking non-stop, putting pressure on the map. And even just across the board, right? 369 in a favorable spot in that top lane matchup, as you'd expect with the Cassante. Mid lane Knight can have all the pressure in the world from the earlier ganks. So it really just gives Kanavi even more free roam over the map to do as he pleases.
Now Kanavi will see, he's been spotted out here, but like you said, pressure in the bot, pressure in the mid lane, can do whatever hell he wants, and that means that whatever hell he wants is going to be that early dragon. So early stacking coming in here. Good news for JDG and JDG fans alike. It is a Chem Dragon first, so it's not going to be a Chem Soul, so hopefully something decent will be popping out from this particular one, as we can see using the
mini-map machine.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tarzan kind of caught out here as they look to try and catch him out on his little bit of a rotation, but he's already been spotted out, taken away from his mid laner. A dragon and a kill. This is the JDG we saw at MSI, and they have finally come back to LPL to show why they should be feared.
And look at the whole map state, right? You just got Dragon. You've now won out on top side, finding a kill on the enemy jungler. Gala and Hung recalling earlier on, so Ruler and Missing are able to get that wave in. They've pretty much just went out across the map in every way that you can. So almost making it up to a 2K gold lead. Going to start coming back with some nice components. Berserker's Agree double longsword down there for Ruler. Sheen already being built for 369. When on the side of LNG now, though, you have ults online. Tarzan should be close to getting his up. And that's where, right, you have the burst coming out from the Nico. You have the CC with the Malphite. And hopefully you can start getting Tarzan some resets and really finding an avenue back into this game.
That's the big thing. It's kind of already falling behind now, and especially with the burst options, as you mentioned, with the Elise and the Jace, you just need to find an opportunistic moment maybe to get something back in your favor. And there's definitely ways of doing it. You've got the Viego for resets. You've got the Nico. See what they can make it work for it. But right now, Tarzan looking towards that top side. Difficult to really see him getting much else here, to be honest with you. Even if they all end on the Cassante, it's still a Cassante. I just wouldn't risk it.
Yeah, he even has the ultimate up, right? Has the all out, has potential ways to maneuver around and escape. It looks like they know they can't go for it. Going to try and turn it into a Rift Herald. This, for now, Kanavi going to focus on vision towards the bottom half of the map. So a bit of a reprieve for LNG, being able to get a semblance of a neutral objective, maybe get some more gold back into their own pockets.
I'm going to find the recall there.
They're going to die more.
Gala is probably not even aware of how lucky he is in that regard, as he does end up getting the recall off just in time. That means that Kanavi feels comfortable to go for this little push in. They're going to try and get this wave reset as well. And this is great from Ruler and Missing to kind of push in this wave constantly. We're seeing this kind of be the answer into something like the Aphelios, is that if you let the Aphelios kind of have the way of the lane where he's able to kind of dictate when and where he has the guns, when and where he can get a reset, he does end up running away with the game just a little bit too quickly. But in this situation, we're seeing the Jinx just kind of be perfect to try and just keep pushing in the wave. The Gala can never, ever open himself out to the map, and he has to kind of, you know, be a little bit more liberal with the gun uses when he's trying to get all this farm.
Yeah, I'm already losing out on 2 plates down in that bot lane, so Ruler already accelerating even further ahead with the Noon Quiver. making his way up to that Storm Razor, so gonna have that nice bit of early power. And honestly, like, Zika kind of being the only one who's really gone unpunished. 10 CS down, but you're a Malphite, not the end of the world. I guess bot lane hasn't died for the side of LNG. They're not too far behind in terms of CS. Really just that plate gold going to be the difference maker.
Yeah, a couple of kills and mainly kind of focus on that mid lane. Actually, solely focus on that mid lane as the Jace has the 2. But it'll be a slower start now as we wait to see now with teams kind of getting to their first items. That's generally what we like to see is, or what teams like to see, is generally getting up to that first item before they really go for any kind of crazy play. Scout moving forward with this. Just at the last second, I think Knight tried to figure it out. He gets away though. Oh my lord, he saw it at the last second and he does eventually get the flash out. That's kind of huge. There's 2 flashes and 2 huge ultimates from LNG that aren't going to lead into anything.
Yeah, sadly, Zika trying his best to get in range to be able to get that ulti down quick enough, but wasn't. Now, Kanavi just going to force them back. I don't know if they can really force the play off this with how low Knight is and having no mana.
Yeah, just kind of happy to get a little bit of harassment back down. Zika was the one who picked up those plate gold as well, which isn't ideal. Not bad, but not best. And they had to use a TP to get the Nico up the top side as 369 holding steady with his unleashed teleport, kept himself on that top lane. While bot lane, the box was dropped, but nobody hit it.
No, not connecting with anyone. I do want to go back to that point about the plates going to Zika. I think, you know, not the worst considering you look at JDG's comp, and it will mostly be physical damage, right? Like, Kanavi going to do his fair amount, but if you can have Zika just up front, absorbing as much as possible, maybe it buys time for members of LNG to get positioned once we start getting to a team fight phase. If we ever do, is JDG now?
Oh, that's a good... Yeah, I was going to say, good cleanse from Gala to immediately recognize if he gets hit by that hook and they are able to kind of put down even more CC. He is a dead man, so we're seeing that cleanse being burned time and time again. And yes, it's doing its job. It's keeping him alive, but definitely don't want to be losing it too frequently, especially just before a dragon fight, which could potentially be happening right now.
Right? That's exactly the reason. Then you have to play more conservatively. You can't put yourself in positions where you are trading for farm as much as you want. You're not going to look into contesting these early drakes. And JDG doing a great job of drafting this composition that wants and is looking to snowball and really just accelerating the pace of the game. So not only having that gold lead, but now sitting at 2 drakes. So trying to build up that insurance policy of the soul, which will be infernal if by happenstance LNG do start to find their footing.
Again, JDG just slowly but surely suffocating this bot lane out. It just feels like Kanavi, after that 1 or 2 ganks, just kind of said, okay, now I can just kind of pop down every now and again, see how you're getting on. Here. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, but like you kind of almost have to assume now on the side of LNG that it's like, well, he's probably here. There's nothing else we can really take from this other than he is here. So definitely gonna be a lot more conservative. And I gotta say, you know, big props to the LNG bot lane despite the pressure. Yes, look, they are falling behind in terms of the plates, but they're not dying. And honestly, that's like a huge plus because we see it so many times where a team gets pressured in this bot side. Yes, they lose out on pressure and plates, but they don't die. They do give over kills as well, which just makes the situation so much worse.
And right, they're doing it with minimal attention and cover from their team. And LNG knowing it's great hook again.
Yeah,
Missing
nearly. Missing is looking to put his name into the accolades of great JDG players, as we can see on the picture-in-picture. A little bit of a red buff steal coming out here from 369 on the Cassante. And this is the thing, like, I mean, how do you do this? I don't think you can stay here. Gala's got to leave. Yeah, look, again, you're not dying, but you kind of just need to accept your fate that this tower is going to go down.
Again, a lot of it coming from the fact that Kanavi, knowing the topside matchup, even if he hasn't just constantly ganked and gone for kills in the bot lane, always in river, setting it up. And you know what? Thinking back, this was a matchup a lot of people were excited for in spring playoffs. Let's remember that both these teams ended on the same scoreline. I believe they both had 3 losses going into playoffs, but because of game difference, LNG were 3rd, JDG was 1st, and LNG getting taken out, I believe it was by OMG. Yeah, OMG in round 3 losing 3-1, so we never got to see this matchup, who a lot of people thought that this was going to be the LPL Spring Finals.
Exactly that. This was, again, very disappointing for LNG, who were knocked out by OMG in spring, so they are looking to come back, have a much stronger start to this one and see what they can do. They have had a great start so far, 2-0 so far in the split, and against top esports and against RNG. Definitely not the worst of opponents, but this is kind of the biggest test, shall we say, of the top four. Their first top four bout from spring that they're really coming into this. And JDG showing that they are still very much top dogs of the LPL. They may have had a rough first series, but they are definitely not someone to be taken lightly, shall we say.
No, and we're also just going to give that to the Weiwei buff, regardless of his performance in the last series, right? Again, Weiwei, 8-4 now against Kanavi. It's all up to that, but he's not in this game. Kanavi, with his bot lane rotating towards topside, going to pick up the Herald, so going to be able to start extending this gold lead even more. I think you'd ideally want to try and break open mid lane turret with this one.
And the timing is kind of perfect, though, as well. You're getting it in, you know, minute 50 before the Dragon. That means you're going to have it off cooldown for when you want to try and contest that objective. And you're already going onto Soul Point. It's, you know, it's going to be 17 minutes into the game, and JDG will be looking at an Infernal Soul Point, which is going to be so difficult for LNG to kind of deal with. And now they're looking to try and dive on this top side. Hook goes missing, and they got to get a two-man knockup, but nobody really in position to kind of, you know, go for that one. Zika gets a teleport from Scout as well as they look to try and protect their top laner.
Ooh, Knight's still waiting. I wonder if he's counting. I wonder if he knows.
Did he see, maybe? Yes, he did. He definitely saw, because he immediately jumped onto that minion. Don't know if he's going to have the damage though to go for the burst, but Kanavi might as well have it. They're going to have a TP coming in as well. That's going to be the Cassante jumping up on top of this. Tarzan has joined in as 369 now, trying to play protector of his jungler as the mid laner of JDG goes down. Now they can turn back on top of this. The Heartbreaker is available to try and reset this fight. And they will be able to walk themselves away. It's scrappy, it's messy, but LNG finally get themselves on the board.
Yeah, LNG taking advantage of the fact that JDG wanting to find as many kills as they can, right? Setting up that sneaky play. Not going to be able to convert at the end of the day, but look at the minimap. Ruler and missing. Now getting free time. Mid lane turret. Gala, he's been here all game. He knows exactly how this is going to go, which is why you go for the reset now. You avoid missing. You don't get hooked. Does have the cleanse back up, and we've seen Gala's on point with those. But still, like you hit on earlier, definitely don't want to be giving those up as... Shane, you called it. It seemed like he knew.
Seemed like he knew, but I don't think he saw it perfectly, so he actually just missed it completely. He did know, he just missed.
Yeah. And it's here, keep your eyes on the Viego coming up. They try to buy time. Kanavi's going to have nowhere to come down when he goes for the repel, just wanting 369 to get here. But Tarzan, very good mechanical plays. Flash into the root, gets that one down, and now JDG with Kanavi not having mana can't do anything.
Yeah, oh, that's a hook there onto the Nico. So yes, you're trading back to thing. A flash forward from missing as he wants to be aggressive. The Moonlight Vigil only lasts one, but a three-man pop blossom. They try to fully commit. How has nobody died? And it's actually LNG who get the first death. JDG went so low in so many positions, but they just didn't get killed. And those health bars were blinking, but they were never gray. 3 kills from nowhere. Could be even more as that shock blast gets accelerated right into the face of Gala and Hung. But that was just a crazy amount of damage. How did missing not die?
I don't know, and I don't know how no one on JDG died. I saw Ruler with a really nice cleanse and flash to be able to escape there, but now going to try and convert this into more knockback.
Oh, one more zap, and that's going to be secured. That's going to be another kill, so it ends up being a 4 for none. Tower in the mid lane, Dragon for Soul Point. JDG are online in this game.
And this is very reminiscent to their dominant games in Spring Split, where JDG, a lot of times, it felt like, regardless of macro or map play, would just find these early game leads, be able to snowball out of control, as we see here. Hook comes through. Great. It's going to be a great pop blossom by Scout after buying so much time. But still, no one able to follow up. Just fast fingers coming out from both Ruler and missing. And then now, with Knight off to the side, 369 in the fold, Gala, Tarzan, these other members of LNG, the key damage dealers, can't walk up to follow through.
And again, just so much burst available from this Jace, and we can see now Scout getting jumped on here, all outed. He did not get baited. The Pop Blossom is beautifully just buffered, and 369 solo bolo onto Scout. This is why people are calling him probably the best top laner in the world right now.
And you see a full item up over not only his lane counterpart, but also, I guess, every member of LNG, right? Yeah. Sitting on 2 items with the Iceborne Gauntlet and the Sunfire Cape. It looks like across the board, some of the key carries on JDG are hitting that mark we just saw. Knight finishing off the Man Immune. Ruler already having Kraken Slayer plus the Gale Force. You know, it still throws me off seeing these two in tandem.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a bit of a bug.
You know, right?
Definitely doesn't feel correct. I'm always just like, oh, why did we allow this? Why was this allowed?
After for so long only being able to have one, there's a little bit of a... You know, I'm going to stop my point because I just looked up at the gold and saw, wow, 7.5K gold lead, 20 minutes on Soul Point, and still going to look to force more.
Immediate cleanse, but I don't know if that's going to be able to save you. Sorry, spoiler alert. It won't save you. It means that you're just going to take it down. This is domination from JDG. Look, they are not letting LNG breathe.
We can even like fast forward after this game ends. You know, usually we have to give an MVP. I don't know if we need to wait for MVP.
No, let's go
because
game 2.
If Mystic's not the MVP, I am mind blown. Well, I guess Kanavi did great work in, you know, the first 10 minutes. Like how he played the map, excellent. But these hooks have been beautiful.
Just reminding us again, just kind of like he is here to be counted. He's here to be a massive part of this team. As that's your tank. That is your Malphite. And he gets hooked again. Death sentence number 1 wasn't enough, but death sentence number 2 surely was. I don't care who this MVP was. It's missing for me, and it always will be for this game.
And we need to remember back to his days on WE, right? His early days on WE. This was his champion. This is what you knew Missing for back when he was laning with people like Elk, showing great performances back then.
I think it's his most played, or it's definitely close. Just so good on this chip pick.
Yeah, we can always look it up with the power of the internet is now. Gala.
We could.
You don't have cleanser flash this time, buddy.
No, you do not. You're going to be run down pretty hard. I love that Hung is trying to go from there. Nicely saved by the blast cone. Dodges out from one other thing. As 369 gets another solo kill. Off on the side as he's looking to try and end the game. Tarzan. Oh, you're caught between a Thresh and an Elise, and there is no winning on that particular one. Baron secured. Kills in the pocket. 11,000 gold. I mean, GG go next. This is not a game you're going to be winning anytime soon, LNG, unless we see some absolutely horrific throws coming out from JDG.
And you have to see a lot of throws, back-to-back throws. But I did look it up. So, Thresh not his most played champion, but Leona's his most played at 63 games, Nautilus at 62, and then Thresh at 61. So,
and this will make Thresh 62. So there you go. It's almost his most played.
Out of those three, his Thresh is the highest win rate of the bunch at 64%.
Says it all.
Yeah, Missing feeling right at home, and 369 feeling right at home in LNG's base.
Yeah, right at home as the rest of his team just got to push it in the rest of the lanes. They still have Baron for a minute 40. They broke open the base before the Baron push really began. Now we're going to see a Pop Blossom come out to try and catch out Kanavi, but he's got a Lantern to try and get him away from it. Doesn't even need to keep your Lantern Missing. I don't need your pity and your charity. I am fine in this 1v3 because Knight and 369 are ending the game.
Yeah, they're just pressuring all three lanes right now. You already kind of said they're in the coffin. They're already in the ground. It's all about what JDG can do.
We're just waiting for the priest to arrive to start the ceremony. Like, it's just
exactly.
We're just waiting for this to happen. But all three inhibitors down at 23 minutes is definitely a not so great position for LNG, and JDG looking to try and bounce back very cleanly from that first loss they had. Absolutely incredible play from them from minute 1. They knew what they wanted to do. They knew how they needed to execute. And they just made it so difficult for anyone to go for it. LNG, this is your last-ditch effort to try and make something happen. But you're too far behind. It's 13,000 gold, and that gold means a lot. Flash in. The cleanse is a little too late this time, and the death sentence will be just that for Gala. Game 1 going over to the MSI 2023 champions as they look to try and re-establish themselves as top dogs of the LPL.
Yeah, we're going to see they're going for the base now. It seems like kind of playing with their food. As,
they're going for a bit of Pop Blossom. Oh my god, I've cast her cursed it, haven't I? We can see now Hung getting 1v1 by 369, but can 369 end this game on his own? He is a man on a mission, and that mission is to kill Scout over and over again. No one else is allowed to fight him, only 369. And 369, I don't think he can end the game, but he can certainly put in a lot of pressure.
He's still staying here. This man just does not care whatsoever. Like, okay, he's gonna back off. If he was gonna stay, that would be the most like alpha move I could imagine, because your team's not going to be up anytime soon. You have no business being in the space right now. Get your reset, get tempo back on the map, go pick up your soul, and then you come back for the end. As we are going to get a replay here to see how the last stand went, missing once again with the hook. Gala doesn't even have any time to react. And JDG here could, try and just focus on the turrets. I think wanting to try to finish off some more kills before they can heal in Fountain. But it's going to be the big play from Scout that really does keep everything alive. Sadly, Tarzan not able to land his own death sentence, but there
Ruler!
It is huge.
Ruler, what was that flash? It doesn't matter. You're still going to win the game, but what was that flash? He flashed into the pot blossom. You know what? A mistake. We let that happen, though.
When you have the resume that Ruler has, you get to make as many mistakes as you want, Sheen.
You know what? That's fair. That's very fair.
We come
World
back
champion,
at
MSI champion,
again.
LCK champion, LPL champion, and looking to add even more accolades to that as Tarzan is dead. Tarzan just got 1v1'd when all 5 members were in the base. That's what happened there. The Jace gets ulted on top of him, but Ruler's too big. And this should be the end of the game. Yes, Gala is alive, but Gala is all alone in this world. He has got plenty of damage, but not enough to bring down these health bars. If it wasn't for the 15,000 gold lead, maybe he could have done something. But that is game 1 to JDG.
Yeah, very dominant victory coming out from them. I mean, again, like being pushed down, bringing out that Elise, and then doing such a great job with the early pressure, right? Bot lane was able to find their own advantage. We saw on top side they were punishing as well with people like Tarzan going for those invades. And it's like, okay, top lane's in a fine state. Tank versus tank matchup. We've already got Knight going with people like missing as well, giving pressure over to that mid lane matchup. And then you just live in bot side river. You live in bot side river if you're Kanavi. And then what could LNG do? The answer was not even slowly die. Just kind of quickly get rolled over.
Yeah,
what is that damage?
It's a lot. It's a lot of damage. It's a hell of a lot of damage, but it is still a win there for JDG. LNG, they needed to figure out how to bounce back because there was just nothing they could do. There was no silver linings as such. There was no kind of, oh, they could have, if this had gone right, this had gone. No, that was just domination from minute 1 right until the game ended. One last fight where they defended their Nexus to just delay it for another minute or so. And then once the Infernal Soul was secured, it was all but just a done deal. And look, normally we take a break. Normally we look to try and see what can, kind of happen towards, give ourselves a bit of moment. That was so quick. That was so dominant. I think we should just jump into the next game. We should just get ourselves ready into the next game as quick as we possibly can. Bring everyone all this information as we have a look now at the picks. That was game 1 picks and bans, I believe. So we can kind of have a look at the kind of where everything was kind of prioritized. And yeah, I mean, with LNG, you kind of have to ban the Zeri. You kind of have to ban the Milio. The Maokai as well. It feels like Red Side is kind of going, there's a lot of priority bans that you're just taking away from you.
Yeah, and again, just the fact that I feel like the biggest distinction in that draft was for the side of JDG opting into not picking jungle in first rotation, still needing some magic damage to round out with the fact that they had that Jace, push them down onto that Elise pick. So, you know what? I don't cheat and look at what drafts we got next because I'm sure we're going to be in game pretty soon. But I will give the caveats for LNG. They just played yesterday. You know what I mean? They had to pretty much double prep coming into this weekend for both opponents, which I guess isn't crazy, right? You have to do that in other regions, playing 2 opponents, but you don't have to do that for best of 3s. And the second caveat will be, you know what? Sometimes top teams just smash each other. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the thing is that, like, we even saw it at MSI where, like, Gen G versus BLG, BLG kind of smashed them. And that's not saying that Gen G are a bad team. Gen G are a phenomenal team. It just happens. These small incremental, again, it's the old age saying of you give an inch, they take a mile. That's how good these teams are. That's how good these players can be on these champions. And missing, thank you so much for getting the MVP. This man gets so overshadowed so many times when we talk about, JDG, and for good reason, but he is still a core pillar of how they want to play the game, and the fact that he can make plays like this all game long is absolutely awesome.